Hello chess players, this is International Master Vitaly Neimer from PowerfulChess.com. Today, I would like to show you one of my best games which illustrates the power of the closed Sicilian. This game, I was playing white against the strong Grandmaster Manuel Hoyos in 2012. My first move was e4 and black played pawn to g6, trying to go for the modern defense. But I, as usual, always transpose to the closed Sicilian, always something that is very familiar for me. Black played bishop g7, pawn to g3, pawn to c5, bishop g2, knight to c6, d3, pawn to e6, bishop e3, pawn to d6, f4, knight g e7, knight f3, castle, castle, and knight to d4. So this is pretty much the main line of the closed Sicilian. Now white should not probably take on d4. Obviously taking with the knight will lose a piece because of the fork. And if white takes with the bishop, then black can take back with the pawn. And after the knight retreats, black can play either queen b6 or pawn to e5, having a space advantage and the two bishops. So instead, in this position, white's main idea is to break in the center with the typical break of e5. The idea behind it is that once this d6 pawn is gone, the c5 pawn is gonna be weak. And that's what happened in the game. Black is playing knight e to e5, attacking the bishop. Also wants to fork, so the bishop has to go back. Knight takes f3 check, queen takes f3, knight to d4. Now the queen has to go back to defend the c2 pawn. And now black played the rook to b8. Now this looks like a good idea and a natural move, taking out the rook from the h1a diagonal and preparing b5. But actually this was a critical one of the mistakes, the first mistake. The correct move, the main line goes d takes e5, pawn takes e5, bishop takes e5, and now white is a pawn down, which he gains by knight to e4. It's impossible to defend this pawn. If black will try queen to c7, then white is usually playing c3 and taking the pawn with the bishop or the knight. So in the game, rook to b8 was played, and now still the same idea, knight to e4. This knight is very strong on e4, attacking both of those pawns. Black has to take on e5, and now an intermediate move. Instead of taking on e5 immediately, I played pawn to c3, because now black has to retreat. And now instead of taking on e5, I took first of all on c5, forking the rook and the pawn. The rook went to e8. Now I took on e5, bishop takes e5, bishop takes a7, rook to a8, and now bishop to f2. After the dust has settled, we can see that white has a very nice structure and is actually a pawn up. Now the same position black probably could have gotten with the pawn on a7, but just because of this maneuver that cost him with the a7 pawn. The game continued knight to e7. Black is trying to transpose his knight to the center, maybe to d5. And now it is time for a pawn storm on the queen side. I started with a4, knight to d5, c4, knight went to b4, and now I played pawn to d4. The bishop has to go back to g7, knight to c5, attacking the b7 pawn. Black needs to defend it. Now I played queen to b3, just trying to play with all the pieces and put as much pressure as possible on the b7 pawn. Therefore, the knight had to go to retreat to c6. Now I played rook f2 d1. So, completing my development of all my pieces. Everybody is working. Everybody is doing something. Now, black played b6. And this was a critical mistake of the game. Opening the h1 a8 diagonal for my bishop was very dangerous. A better move would probably be trying to finish the development of this bishop, probably e5. Then the bishop goes, and also attacking, the pawn is attacking the center, even though the b7 is hanging. So after b6, I played a strong move, queen to b5. The knight cannot move because the queen will take this rook. So black has to play bishop to d7, knight takes d7. Now the queen cannot take because of this fork, and I just won a piece. So the knight had to go back to a7, attacking my queen. But in this case, I just took on b6. Queen takes on d7. Bishop took on a8. Rook took on a8. And here I am an exchange up and 2 pawns. So now it is time to use my advantage and start a major attack with the pawns. I played d5, e5, pawn to c5, and those pawns are unstoppable. Pawn went to e4, pawn to c6, queen to e8, pawn to d6. And now the idea is just queening this pawn. So black had no choice but to take on c6. And now d7. Still unstoppable. Black cannot stop the d8, even with the exchange of the queens. So this was a nice game of the close Sicilian. So what have we learned? Number 1, the close Sicilian is a powerful weapon, especially if black does not know how to defend precisely against it. Number 2, during the game, try to look for a break in the center to activate your pieces. And number 3, try not to open and attacking diagonals to the opponent's advantage. Thank you very much for joining me today. For more, this was International Master Vitaly Neimer. For more videos, please visit powerfulchess.com.